Hello, everyone. I'm Emily Neckvasil, the Senior Content Strategist at Stream, the leading provider of chat, video, and activity feed APIs. And today I'm joined by Bastiaan Terhorst, the CTO of Relive. So thank you, Bastiaan, for being here with us today.
Great to be here.
We're going to dive into your insight and experience for this case study. Relive has been a valued Stream customer for quite a while now, and we're thrilled to showcase how your use of our Activity Feeds product has supported your mission to help adventurers relive and share their outdoor journeys. So we're going to explore how Relive has evolved as a platform, how Stream's tools have contributed to your growth, and the innovative ways you've engaged your community. And hopefully your story will help others see the potential of Activity Feeds and building vibrant, experience-driven platforms like Relive. So let's dive into the questions. Starting with the platform vision and technical foundation, from a technical perspective, what were the foundational principles behind building Relive, and how did they shape your approach to user experience and social features?
Yeah, so from the start, way back in the beginning, Relive really started as a small technical experiment that one of the founders basically built during their holiday. They had a cycling holiday, and they had the inspiration for Relive as a product. They were cycling, and I wanted to share with their friends the experience of what they were seeing in the mountains, etc. So during that holiday, they built the very first prototype of Relive, allowing you to sort of upload your route that you cycled, for instance, with photos, etc. And then the software turns that into a really nice 3D animated video that you can share with friends and family to show them what you did and let them relive that experience with you. So that from that humble beginnings, pretty quickly the product started to grow, and it became quite obvious that we needed a more robust infrastructure, more robust architecture to support all of those users. And from the quite early on, we focused on building a decentralized architecture to support the many users that have found their way to our product since. So we have a lot of functionality that is written in Lambda functions. So we mostly run on AWS. So lots of Lambda functions that process different parts of the pipeline independently. So lots of queues and lots of functions independently. And we're now also kind of in the process of applying that modular approach also to the app, so to the client as well.
Awesome. And so you approach these technical challenges of building something that's really dynamic and scalable by having that type of infrastructure.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. Amazing. And so when you were looking for an activity feed solution and you had to evaluate different options, what specific technical requirements were critical for Relive? Was it data handling? Was it scalability, customization, or ease of integration?
Yeah. So ease of integration was really important for us because as a product organization, we focus on rapid iteration and lots of experiments. So we don't really launch anything outside of an experiment. So when we were considering building a community and engaging with our community, letting them see what others were doing on the platform, etc., we wanted to first validate whether there was actually a need for that. So we were looking for a way to integrate at least the foundations of that functionality with very few lines of code and very little work involved. And that's also how we found Stream, which enabled us to really quickly get this working, basically.
Awesome. And can you describe a little bit more of the key criteria related to the specific SDK that you're using that led you to choose Stream's activity feed over something that is also easy to integrate, like another provider?
Yeah. One of the things that we really liked is how Stream handles data and the way the API is structured, allowing us to really keep all of our customer data on our side and really only leverage Stream for constructing the feed and figuring out which content needs to go where. So that really gave us a lot of confidence that we could implement this with very little effort, but still remain GDPR compliant, for instance, which was really important for us.
Perfect. And so let's talk about that integration a little bit more. I know APIs and SDKs are always, supposedly easier to integrate than building your own in-house solution. But did your developers encounter any specific challenges with Stream, or did Stream's documentation and support channels really assist you through the whole process?
I have to say it was pretty straightforward. Like I said, we started using Stream as an experiment. So we literally built the first version of our community platform, I think in the space of a week or two. We launched it to customers, to a small set of customers, quickly saw that they liked it. We did we tweaked it a little bit, we expanded it a little bit, but honestly, we were so happy with the Stream integration that what started as an experiment and a way to get started quickly, we quickly realized, we don't need to go beyond this. We don't need to build this ourselves or look for a different partner. This is actually working really great as it is. So we could scale up and roll it out to all of our customers. And since we've added a few more features, but all the core of the integration is still very much the same integration that we built in those first 2 weeks. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I feel like whenever you test something as an experiment, there's a lot of room for saying, like, hey, if this doesn't work out right away, we're going to move on to something else. So I think that's really great
Yeah.
feedback for us to know that you could have just moved on quickly from our API. But since we were able to support you with different resources, you were able to make it successful. So I'm so glad to hear that. And you talked about using it as is. Have you made any customizations to the activity feeds API, or do you really use it as, an out-of-the-box solution for Relive?
Yeah, we use it as an out-of-the-box solution. One approach that we take is, so we, like I said, we mostly use it to figure out which content needs to go where, but none of the actual content lives on the Stream platform. So we really use it kind of as a database, you could say. And we are well aware that you can do way more with Stream. But for our use case, this is perfect because we keep the control over the data, which is really important to us. Yeah.
That's great. And so, over the past 5 years, how has Stream's infrastructure affected Relive's performance under high user demand as your user base has grown? Are there any impacts on handling sudden activity surges, or are there considerations when it comes to scale since you are using us more as a database?
Yeah, good question. We haven't had any issue with stability or with the scalability of the feed. We did have a couple of moments where we saw huge spikes in traffic. Most recently, when Tim Cook tweeted a link to our app, which was really nice and unexpected, but it was all handled with ease. Honestly, the biggest performance bottleneck that we have is our rendering flow, because like I said, we render 3D videos, which is quite resource intensive. We want to get users their videos as soon as possible. So many concurrent users, that shouldn't mean that you then have to wait a lot longer. So we spend a lot of time improving that part of the system and improving how we serve videos to our users. But the feeds themselves are very performant. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing that Tim Cook tweeted that. I'm sure it's,
Yeah.
something very exciting, but then you're like, oh, how do we handle this? Let's do a
Yeah.
real stress test of our infrastructure. So I'm glad that we are able to support you in that. So moving on more to development efficiency and flexibility, how has Stream influenced your development process? I know it's something that doesn't require a lot of in-house maintenance or feature iteration. So what has your team been able to do by not having to develop activity feeds from scratch?
Yeah, honestly, it's allowed us to focus on other functionality, like something that we've wanted for a really long time is routes functionality. We have lots of people doing all of these activities in the app. We can turn those activities into routes and offer them to new users so that they can explore new content. And honestly, I don't think we would have been able to build that feature if we would have had to build our community feeds ourselves. So it was just super quick to get up and running, and we could move on to other things, knowing that this was a solved problem for us, which was just super valuable.
I'm so happy to hear that. That is exactly what Stream is intended to do. So it's so exciting to hear different customers using their time to develop the core parts of their app and let Stream handle the rest. So let's move into data handling. You mentioned that a little before, how it's great that Stream allows you to maintain the ownership of your data. Given Relive's data privacy needs, how have you managed data security and user privacy within Stream's framework? And are there any specific measures taken to ensure data integrity and compliance?
Yeah, so the approach that we've taken is to not store any PII or any user data really on Stream, and instead only use Stream to link document IDs. So all of the data lives in our cloud, and we use Stream to know which content to serve, basically just from the document IDs that we get back from Stream. And this is a super simple and powerful approach for us because all of the GDPR workflows that we had in place to, for instance, delete user data or request it when someone does a user data request, uh, they all still work. We didn't need to change anything about them. So that's super valuable and super helpful to have. Yeah, I think that the
Great.
flexibility in the API is really helpful. That it allows you to do that. But also, if you would want to store stuff on Stream, that's also possible.
Great. I'm so glad that you recognize that, and maybe down the road you can shift your strategy. And that's the whole point of the APIs, is to support our customers as they evolve, as their needs evolve as well. So maybe, at one point they like to store things off of the API and later move it into there. So that's great to hear. And we'll talk a little bit about the technical benefits and the return on investment that you've gained from Stream. Activity feeds keep users engaged, obviously. They keep them, looking at the routes and help them relive their experiences, the main point of the app. So are there any quantifiable metrics or developer efficiency gains that you've observed since implementing Stream? And this is more about the development side of things. So either like reduced load time, enhanced performance, and we can talk about the user benefits a little bit later.
Yeah. So we didn't have an activity feed before, so I can't really compare. We don't have something to compare it to. What we do measure, of course, is the latency within our own app and how much that was impacted by implementing Stream's APIs, and we didn't see any effect. So there has been zero impact on the performance of our app, which was great to see. Um, for us, the biggest ROI that we're getting is the fact that we don't have to build and maintain a complex piece of technology ourselves, and we can just outsource it to someone who cares about it. So we can build the things that really set our app apart, and that's the super valuable part for us.
Amazing. And so, have you seen any benefits on the user side of things? Are people if they use activity feeds, do they engage more with the app? Do they stay longer with the company? What is the impact on the user side?
Yeah, definitely. So we do see that people who engage with communities, they retain longer.
That's
Yeah,
great. So app
yeah,
retention for users, that's amazing.
yeah.
Okay, and then so moving into developer support and documentation feedback, how would you rate Stream's developer support? And are there any examples when our team helped you in a tough spot during integration or maybe developing features post integration?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not the best person to ask because we were able to implement it very easily in the space of days, a few weeks maybe, and it all went very smoothly. However, what has been helpful is that we're currently in the process of rewriting several parts of our app, including the part that handles feeds and the sort of the community side of it. And I mean, our account manager has been super helpful in offering support from stream engineers. So we know that the support is there. We just haven't really needed it yet. But it's know that if we do get stuck, that there are people who can help us out. Yeah.
That's a great answer. That's almost a better answer than needing the support. So perfect. I'm glad to hear that. And then, as we're looking toward future development of Relive, have there been any experimental or innovative use cases you've explored within Relive using Stream's features? Maybe as your platform grows. I know AI is a really hot topic right now. Is there anything you're looking to, bring Relive's experience to the next level within Stream?
Yeah, so one thing that we are looking at, we're really interested in, is to expand the community functionality that we have into more of the physical world. So a lot of our users do hikes or go cycling in national parks, for instance, and we would love to set up communities around these national parks, ideally also with the participation of those national parks themselves, so they can share, for instance, what new routes they have on offer or share other content that is relevant to people going to those parks. So that's really something that we're very interested in and working on at the moment. Yeah.
That's very cool. We'll be excited to see that. And then, do you have any parting words for developers considering Stream? Any advice for someone looking to integrate activity feeds? I know it's pretty clear that you would suggest integrating an API over building in house, but anything that you would suggest to someone who is searching for a similar solution?
Yeah, I guess my suggestion would be to just give it a try because our was that, if you give it a try, you'll find out very quickly if it's a fit or not. And for us, it definitely was a fit. The fact that it takes so little effort to get going will very quickly tell you if, for your use case, there's also a fit. So there's very little to lose. So I would just say give it a go.